Hey everybody, what is going on? Super Agents Live. Hey guys, I gotta apologize to you. I missed, this show's coming out late, and last Tuesday we didn't drop an episode. I've been super busy with life, with radio, and everything else. Radio for us, real estate radio experts, go check it out. If you want to do radio, it's growing for us like crazy. It's taking up a ton of my time. So I'm trying to keep up to date with this show, but if you've been bummed out because you haven't heard an episode, I apologize. So the other thing too, man, it's summertime. So I'm planning 2 weeks from now. We are hopping on a plane from San Diego, going out to Jackson Hole. Going to spend a couple days in Jackson Hole at this fabulous hotel. It's got a river right in front of the little chalets. It's got a pond you can fish in. So the kids are pumped about that. So 2 days in Jackson Hole, and then we're jamming up for the next 7 or 8 days all through Yellowstone. So that's what's going on before the kids get back to school. So I'm busy. I'm sure you are too. So again, I apologize about not getting you guys what you need, which is this show. Now, look. Today's show, because I kind of cherry picked this one out of, I have seriously like 70 or so just sitting there in the pile, and they're stacking up. So I kind of got this one because I made some notes on it. I did it a long time ago. Now I'm going to tell you what we talk about. High level, what we talk about and break down is the Brian Buffini method. Now, as you may or may not know, Brian Buffini, his whole thing is by referral only. That's one of the reasons why I've not had him on this show. I've reached out to his people, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, by referral only." I'm like, "All right, whatever. You're blowing it." Now here's the deal. So, I talk all the time about why and how you guys should build your list. Right? Because real estate's a contact sport. The more contacts you can make, the more deals, business you're going to find. Now, this guy only, and by the way, my list for radio, because I want to sign people up for our radio arm, my list for getting people on the show is a little just under 3,000 people. And I've built that over the last year, just with my site alone. I've built that, which is cool. And if you guys can have 3,000 people or 5,000, 10,000 people in your database, you'll never have trouble doing anything. And here's what internet marketers will say. If you can have an email list of 10,000 people, that's good for an easy $100,000 a year. Okay. This guy, his team, I think of like 15, you'll hear it early in the beginning, they'll do 300 deals a year. That's what they'll do. Now, today's guest, he will do 100. Now, here's why I'm bringing it up. His database, he said it's only 300 to 400 people. So he's got a database of, best case scenario, 400 people, but he does 100 deals. Okay, so that's what we talk about. What he does, specifically, how many calls, how many emails, how he segments his database. Really quickly. The audio is terrible for the first 2 minutes, and then you hear me, I get on a different line with him. So if you start this out and you're like, dude, this episode blows, just get to minute 3 and you'll be okay. And we have a little bit of a disagreement about referrals, and you'll hear that. I think it's like about minute 7. Again, list segmenting, what he does specifically, how many calls, how many pop-bys, emails, blah, blah, blah. All right, that's it. Let's get to it. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first $1 million in real estate. Yeah. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go. Yeah.
Right now, before we get to it, just a little housekeeping, as we always do. I talked a little bit about radio before, so I won't do it again. Secondarily, you don't want to miss future episodes like this. And this is truly a coaching session with this guy. And you can look, this guy spent thousands of dollars learning from Brian Buffini. You're going to spend an hour with him and you're going to learn exactly all the stuff. It's just now you have to go execute. So you're not going to want to miss future episodes like this. Go to the site, Super Agents Live. Download my free ebook, get on my list, and because again, I do share stuff with my list that I don't necessarily talk about on the show. That's it. The Facebook course. If you guys don't know how to retarget on Facebook, how to use pixels, how to create custom or lookalike audiences, or even just get your first 100 likes, you're going to want my course. Facebook course. Right now, there's still a few spots for the $197 package, which are the early birders. The second 100 people are going to pay $297, and after that's going to $397. So hop in now. Like, send me an email if you want to grab that early. All right, that's it. Let's get to it. Today on the show, today's guest has a pretty interesting background. He is in Omaha, Nebraska. He has a team of 16. That team will sell 300 transactions. Out of that, he'll do 100 by himself. And total volume is about 50 million. I'm thrilled to welcome Timothy Reeder. Hey, Tim, thanks for taking the time out today.
Absolutely.
Hey, so Tim, listen, before we get into your business, I want to know what's working for you and what's not. Tell me a little bit about yourself. I always want to know a little bit about the man behind the machine.
Well, I got into real estate about 18 years ago because I wanted to be an investor, and I quickly realized that being an investor was not my cup of tea, but becoming a realtor was. And so I started selling houses. It worked really, really well. I didn't realize how relational this was. And my personality fit real estate. I was just very fortunate to find a career that worked so well for me. Our market here in Omaha never really crashed. As a matter of fact, in 2008, 9, 10, when other markets were doing really poorly is when we were booming. That's when I started my team, and that's when we got to where we're at now. My team is called the Good Life Group, and the Good Life Group name came from the fact that Nebraska is a good life state, but also we follow Brian Buffini's method very closely. I am trained by Brian Buffini. I go to all the Buffini events, and we are a Buffini team, and our focus is working by referral.
Got it. Okay. And real quick, do you have a landline available, Tim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, do you have a bad connection?
It's terrible. So here, let me. I'll just keep recording. Just give me the new number.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, way better. Okay, we're back.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem. So you were ending. So when did you? That's amazing. You're the first market that I've heard of that did not. I mean, I can't believe you were booming in 08, 09. Why did you buck the national trend?
Because our market, our houses in our market tend to appreciate it on an average of 2 to 3% a year. We just had slow growth. So we grew very slowly, very steadily. When the market crashed, we didn't have as far to fall. We have consistently been ranked one of the last states for foreclosures. Even though I sell about 100 houses a year, I only deal with maybe one short sale a year. I'm primarily a listing agent, and I only do with one short sale at a time. So we're just a very strong, slow and steady market.
Okay. Again, and just for clarification, and this is more for me than maybe the audience cares about, but banks, you didn't have a problem with people getting loans? Banks were okay?
Oh, no. Oh, God, no. Yeah,
that is amazing.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have such a strong market here.
So, okay, you've been in it for a while, so I know I have to imagine, you are doing 100 transactions on your own. I have to imagine a big portion of that is past clients' referrals.
Virtually all of it.
All of it?
Virtually. 97% of my business is past clients and referrals.
So don't you think that's too high? I mean, don't you think geez, I should do some marketing and reduce that percentage?
Who are you kidding? What are you talking about? The best business you can get is business by referral. You don't have to pay fees. People trust you. When I go on a listing appointment, I'm not competing against other agents. It's the only way to go.
Right. No, it seems to me, I agree with you. 100%. It just seems to me that when I hear people say, hey, listen, 80%, 90% of my business comes from referrals, it seems like I feel like you're leaving a lot of transactions on the table by not by relying so heavily on referrals.
Absolutely not. I could not disagree with you more.
That's amazing.
If anything, our marketing is free. Our marketing is going to our past clients, talking to our past clients, and loving on our clients and our database. And what more could you possibly ask for? Free advertising, strong relationships, working by referral. Why spend the money on print or other types of advertising if I don't need to?
And that's Buffini's bit, right? His whole thing is by referral.
Yes, and it works.
So how do you love on your, unpack that maybe. What are some of the things that you do to your database to get them to not only remember you, but to refer you?
Not everybody that I meet or work with is on my database. If I sell a house, I will put the people in my database if I choose to put them in my database, which really means if I like them and if I feel they like me. So those 100 sales I put on that I sell this year, I would say about 40 or 50 of those are actually going to go into my database, because if the people move away, I'm not going to stay in touch with them, so on and so forth. Then I call or email or text. My database is broken up into my A pluses, my A's, my B's, and my C's. My A pluses are the people that refer me on a regular basis, the people that I know and they know me and we trust each other. A's are people that have referred me in the past. B's are people that I think could refer me, but I know, or maybe they've never referred me, but I know them really, really well. And a C is somebody who's pretty much just my mailing list. So we categorize our clients in that way. So we focus more of our energy on our A pluses and our A's. But between the A pluses, the A's, and the B's, they're all going to hear from us via email, phone, or text once a month. Then every quarter, we do pop-bys, where we stop by the person's house with a little trinket, just a little thank you, flower seeds in the spring, ice melt in the winter, those kinds of things. We do have a mailing list. We do have our emails and all that kind of stuff, but it's just our way of staying in touch with people. Our goal is to train our clients, and I say our goal because this is how my team works. Our goal is to train our clients to be walking, talking billboards to when they're out in the field, out in their day-to-day work, and they hear somebody talking about real estate, they're going to say, "Oh, wait a minute! Hey, I know Tim Reeder. You got to try Tim Reeder," and we train our clients to do that.
Okay, so I want to know more about that, Tim. Again, let me just A plus A's and B's. Once a month, you'll email them. Every quarter, you stop by. Now, what do you do for your C's, and why don't you do the same thing? At least for the email with your C's.
The C's get they're just a mailing list. So they'll get email, they'll get automated newsletters, and they'll get quarterly newsletters. But and they're people that I know, but I don't know them very well, or I don't have a strong relationship with them. And so they'll get my attention too. But keeping in mind, when I have my database is 300 to 400 people, I have plenty of people to pay attention to. So I'm going to be giving my energy and time toward the people that are already giving me business. Because in addition to lead generation, which of course is a big part of my job, I gotta sell. I gotta still have time to do my job. But the other thing is that I'm extremely strict about my schedule. I work 40 hours a work week. I don't work anymore. I occasionally work evenings, but if I work an evening, I'm going to take half the day off. And I would say I work about a half of a weekend day a month.
You have a very interesting business, Tim. How do you train? If you're just emailing, so email, text, or call. Now, out of those three things, email, text, and call, do you have? Is your list further segmented? Your A pluses will get a call. Your A's will, or maybe your B's just get the email. Maybe your A's get a text. Do you kind of have it broken down?
It really depends on. It's case by case. I start off with every month. I start off with the A pluses. Those are the people that get called first, and then I go on to the A's, B's, and so on. The A pluses, if I pop by, because we pop by every quarter with something, the A pluses tend to get a higher quality gift. or a higher quality item, whatever it is, maybe a bottle of wine or something like that. But the A pluses and the A's are also going to be more likely to be that I'll take them out to lunch, or I take them to get coffee and just catch up with them. So we pay more attention to the A pluses and the A's, as we should. These are the people that have proven to give us business. So, and this is nothing new. I've never invented anything. This is the Buffini system.
No, I know. It's just, I've probably done 200 interviews, and you're the first guy that I've had a chance to, that's actually, I guess, coached with Buffini. Nobody else has come on and told us this stuff. So I want to learn as much as I can. It seems to me, if you got your A plus, A's and B's, we'll call them just tier one, so I don't have to say that every time. So tier one, it seems like, everybody in your list only has a sphere so big. At some point, it seems like your A pluses or tier one will not have any more people to refer you to. I mean, because other than every 5 years, people move.
Well, first of all, the A pluses, A's, B's, and C's, it's fluid. It can change.
Okay.
Somebody can rise above. A B can become an A and can become an A plus. So it's not stagnant. But also, no, people. We're talking about all these people that are out there in their lives, and they're bumping into people and they're talking to people. Brian Buffini, who was arguably one of the most successful realtors in the country, he only had 19 A pluses on his list. He had the vast majority of his business came from the same 19 people, and it worked really well for him. And it works really great. We also throw client appreciation parties every year, and so we love on our clients there. We have what we call a reverse pop-by campaign at 4th of July and Thanksgiving, where we give away pies and the people just come into our office to get their free pie. We just, if we just stay in touch and professional, courteous to our current clients and the people we know, the world is our oyster. I mean, we sell a lot of houses just relationally.
Mm-hmm.
Just relationally, and it's comfortable. I don't argue with my clients. I don't have clients that are mad at me, that I don't walk in the door with a resentful seller. I mean, honestly, I can't imagine doing real estate any other way than relationally.
And how do you? So the C's are the C's. Okay. Well, so if I'm a B, if you have a B in your list, they can move up to A and A plus. I guess by giving you a referral. How much energy do you put in cultivating those C's to move up into B or A's?
Well, we give. It kind of happens organically. We give everybody as much attention. I shouldn't say we give everybody as much attention. I'm going to reach out to my C's on an extremely regular basis, just like I am everybody else. And I'm going to ask for referrals. I'm going to say, oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your business,
mm-hmm.
Or for anybody looking to buy or sell. And then if they respond likewise and they refer me, then they just start getting pushed up and they start hearing from me even more. So it's really on them as to where they want to be with that. But also, I should also say, when we start working with a client, we tell them how we work. We tell them that we work by referral.
Oh,
we tell
okay.
them this is the kind of business we do.
Okay.
And when I pick up a new buyer, I say to them, I don't advertise in the newspaper or on the radio. I don't do any kind of marketing. My advertising is giving really good service to my clients and taking really good care of them. My hope is that I'm going to do a great job for you. And between now and the time that I put you into a home, my hope is that I will have earned your business and your trust, and you will have referred me to clients. Whenever I say that, and I put a number on it and
mm-hmm.
a time frame, they always do it. And they usually do it more. I am asking them politely and courteously to please think about me and refer me if I, in fact, deserve the referral. And I ask them to do so between now and the time we close on the house. And they're on a mission. They're like, oh, I got your second one. Oh, hey, I got a third one. Yeah, it works. It works well.
That's amazing. Okay, so you set expectations. So when you first meet with a buyer, now, at what point would you meet a buyer? Because are 97% of your business, of your 100 deals you'll do this year, is going to be a referral? What percentage of listings buyers? What does that look like?
Well, that's changing.
Okay.
I would meaning that I'm primarily a listing agent, but this year I'm changing my goals. So 95% of what I do will be with listings and 5% with buyers.
Okay. Is there a point, and I want, because listen, you do have when you can just sit back and talk with the people that you know well, and you do 100 deals. Everybody listening wants to have that. So forgive me if I'm pounding this too much. So
not at all. Believe me, this is my bread and butter. So I'm happy to talk about it.
Okay, so you meet someone, you set their expectations. During the course of you working with that person, closing on that house, do you further goose this idea like, hey, do you just say it once and then that's it, or how do you develop that through the process by the time to get a lead by the time you close?
It's a constant, gentle conversation. I talk about working by referral a lot. It's in my daily vocabulary. When I'll say, I work by referral, or this person was referred to me, or if let's say I'm a month into the transaction and this client has not referred me yet, of course it's not their responsibility to refer me. Mm-hmm. It's my hope that they will refer me. So if it's been a while and they haven't referred me, I'll just say it again. Oh, by the way, if you know of anybody looking to buy or sell, I would love for your help. But also, one other thing that we do, especially, is we can tweak our verbiage based on the time of year or based on how much business we need. So when we go into winter, because we're very seasonal, when we go into winter, I have no problem saying, you know what, the market's really slowed down. I'd appreciate it if you could do me a favor. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell, can you let me know? But the other thing that I do that makes a big difference is I generally don't say buy and sell. I like right now I'm having this conversation with you, so I'm saying if you know anybody looking to buy or sell. Usually my conversation is if you know anybody looking to sell. If you know anybody looking to sell their home, I'd really appreciate it if you would keep me in mind. And I find that being more specific it's less vague.
Yeah.
And then once in a while they'll say, well, I don't know anybody looking to sell, but I know somebody looking to buy. And of course I take it from there. But I find the more specific you are with what you're asking for, the more likely I'm going to get that referral.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and I just let me tell you and the audience a quick story about being specific. In college, I used to paint houses, and this one girl, it was a lady. We did a bunch of work for her, and one day she came to me and said, "Hey, Toby, I'm throwing a party for my husband. Do you know anybody that plays music?" And I said, "No, I don't know anybody who plays music." And then a few days later, she asked me the same thing. But what she said was, "Hey, Toby, do you know a DJ?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, my roommate's a DJ." And that's always stuck with me, Tim, because it's all about asking that right question to get the response that you want.
Yes, that's really critical. That's really critical. You got to ask the right question. The other thing, really briefly while I was talking, when I say we work by referral, we train our clients that we are their trusted resource for anything real estate and anything professional, especially if they're people are moving to the new city. So we want them to know if they need a plumber or handyman or even something as simple as a babysitter or a tax preparer to call us. Because we know all these people. We are the social butterflies in the community that know everybody. And being a large team helps that even greater because maybe I don't have a tax preparer, but one of the other agents on my team does. And it's not just a tax preparer because we can go online and find one. It's one that we trust, we know, we like. And so we're constantly, I would say a lot of the clients I get calls from are calling me to say, "Hey Tim, do you got a plumber, or do you have a tax preparer, or whatever it is?" And then of course naturally when they need a realtor, they're going to call me for that as well. Yeah, and then we do a lot of business to business. We make sure that whenever I refer my plumber, I call my plumber and say, "Hey, just so you know, I referred you," every single time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking that if you're the plumber, you want to be on your list, and if I do something else, I sell cars or create websites, you're the guy that I want to be hooked up with because I can tap your database just as well as you can tap mine.
Right.
When you make those calls, you said to me that on your A+ list that you know really, really well. What are those calls like when you it's once a month you reach out to them? What are those calls like?
That's also a really good question. Because it depends on who it is, or some people I can just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Other people, a little bit more business, a little bit more professional. So it depends. But whenever I make my phone calls, I always have a reason. Always. It's either to say something specific about them, which I know in advance what it is, or if I'm in a lull or I don't know what I want to talk about, but I have to make my phone calls because I time block about an hour and a half every morning to make my phone calls. But if I don't know if I don't have anything planned, I'm going to choose one of my vendors, and I'm going to call to promote my vendor. So I'm going to call all the people in my database, and I'm going to say, hey, I don't know if you need new homeowners insurance, but just so you know, I've got connected with this guy, and he's doing a really great job. He's giving people great prices on their insurance. If you're thinking about getting another insurance quote, let me know, or let him know. And of course, so I'm calling with an item of value. I'm calling with a reason, but at the same time, of course, before I do that, I'm going to let my insurance guy know, hey, I'm going to be calling my database this week, and I'm going to be telling him about you. So it's like scratching each other's back. So there's always an excuse. There's always a reason to call. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Okay. That's good, because I think a lot of people, I'm glad that you shared that, because I think that a lot of people in the audience would be like, I don't know what to say. And there's only so many times I can say, hey, this is Toby. Are you looking to buy or sell, or do you know anyone? And I would also think, Tim, you could go to your plumber or your roofer or your window guy or your auto mechanic and say, listen, I'm going to call my database. And what I would like to do is, let's say your mechanic. I would like to give them an offer. Can you give 10% off of your services for the next month or something? And do you do something like that? Because I do that for my show.
I've done that.
Yeah.
But I've found that it's no longer necessary. I found that once I have a really good rhythm, or you have a really good rhythm in the play, and you've got things going on, and people know that when I call, my clients are dodging my phone calls. They're like, oh, it's Tim. I'm going to, how's he doing? And sometimes I might think, oh, well, he's got somebody for me or something like that. I've gotten to the point where that person that I'm referring, sometimes they do give me some type of a discount or whatever. Not for me, for them.
Right.
But now it's gotten to the point where they don't need to give any discounts or anything. My endorsement is good enough business. It's good enough. Just saying, hey, if you need somebody, call this person. And that tends to be good enough. Interesting.
If somebody wants to model this in their market, how would they start? How do you start putting together that A+ to C database? Because your database is not that big, Tim. After 18 years, you said your database is like 400 people. But you're going to do you'll do 300 transactions this year. Why is your database only 400 people and not 4,000?
Because I only put the people in my database that I like.
Okay.
They're relationships. I don't have relationships with 4,000 people. I only have relationships, and having the relationships with 300 or 400 is a stretch. But you can do it. These are the people that know you and like you, that would show up to your funeral if you died. These are people I know. I know the people in my database. If I don't know them, they're not in my database.
What about, is there any kind of strategy around building that database? Meaning that certain people, right? The guy who is an insurance sales guy is a better guy to have in your database than some guy that works in an office with 15 people in there.
It depends. Yes, theoretically that makes sense, but I would say some of the best referral sources are little old ladies that are stay at home and never leave the house. They can be people. They talk to people at church. They talk to It's hard for me to say this person's going to know more people, so this person's going to be more of a referral for me. So I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't necessarily work that way.
So there's no real strategy to build your database other than you have to like them.
You have to like them, and they have to like you.
At what point, Tim? If somebody wants to model this, there has to be some sort of minimum critical mass in terms of database size for this to work. You can't work with 10 people in your list.
Well, it just becomes more difficult when you have few people, because the fewer people you have in the database, the more you don't want to bug them.
Right.
So the more people you have in the database, it is going to help within reason. Even within the Buffini system, the 300 to 400 people is quite a bit. But I get a lot of business from those 300 to 400 people. Honestly, it's not rocket science, and I'm not here to plug Buffini.
Yeah, no.
It's the Buffini. Buffini has a Peak Producers class that you can take. You can even take it online. I teach the Peak Producers class myself. And so it talks about this. Everything I just said, every part of that is the Buffini system. Every part of it.
Yeah, and look, and by the way, so I've had all the big trainers have been on my show. Buffini will not come on my show. It's not his thing because he's like, oh, I don't need your exposure because I'm by referral only. I'm like, come on, man. So if you're so once somebody learns, like for you, do you still coach with Buffini?
Oh God, yes. Oh yeah. I'll never leave that. That's critical.
But why does somebody like you, Tim? Why do you need a coach?
They keep me on my toes. They push me. They make sure I'm doing what I say I'm going to do. It's just like my personal trainer. I go to a personal trainer 3 days a week. This last Friday, I didn't have time. So she gave me my homework. I said, I'll do it on Saturday. I didn't do it. When I showed up this morning, she said, did you do your workout on Saturday or Friday? I'm like, no, I didn't. If I'm not there, if she's not there to hand over me and keep me accountable, I'm not going to do it. And the exact same thing happens with real estate. Now, it starts to become more natural. The longer you're in it, the longer you do it, the more natural it becomes. But I still need the coach. But it's also it's not just a matter of her keeping me on track or hovering over me. Mm-hmm. It's also a matter of she's trained. She's trained to keep up what's the newest thing and what other people are doing and what other things are working and not working. And I may sound like I have it all together, but there are some days, there are some months that I'm just completely floundering or failing or having problems, and that she's like my mom. I turn to her for direction. So the Buffini coaching in general is critical. Almost all the agents on my team are coached. Not everybody, but almost everybody. It's not a requirement. It's just highly encouraged. Business coaching is it's imperative to keep me on track. I need that.
Yeah, but okay, so I mean, let's talk about coaching for a second. For you, it's some accountability, but what is required? Look, I have a coach. I have a who coaches me? Bob Corcoran coaches me. I'm one of his personal clients.
Oh wow, yeah.
And and I like Bob. I respect Bob, but I don't listen to him. I call. We get on our phone calls, and I tell him what I'm up to, and he'll say, I don't know if you've ever talked with Bob. He's got this big gravelly voice. He's like, Toby. I'm like, hey, Bob, I didn't want to do that, right? And it's not that I don't respect him, but because I do. But what's required? I'm rambling, and I apologize, Tim. So you said your coach is like your mom. In terms of a relationship, what if somebody wants to get a coach? What are they looking for in that regard?
Well, that's also a good question because Beverly is my coach, but she's my fifth or sixth one. So it's one of the reasons that I like Buffini's coaching is because it's very intimate, personal. And you've got to like the person. You've got to have a good relationship with the person. You've got to feel like you're getting something out of them. And they're not just calling you to rag on you or tell you did a bad job. They have to have a strong relationship. So that works really well with the Buffini system because, if I didn't like a coach, I could just tell them, hey, I think I needed a replacement. And they'll do that easily. No problem. No questions asked. Also, Buffini does heritage profiling. I don't work for Buffini, I swear, even though it sounds like I do. But as if anything, it costs me because I give them a lot of my money every year. They do a heritage profile where they do a very in-depth questionnaire talking about your personality, and then they help match you up with coaches that will complement your personality. So I would say finding the right coach it's imperative. Otherwise, you might as well not even be coached.
Got it. Okay. All right. We're going to start wrapping up here. I'm going to wrap up with the same three questions I always ask. Well, let me ask you this question because I want to make sure that I uncovered everything that we needed to know about that. So here's a kind of a crazy question. Here it is. What's something I should have asked you, Tim, that I didn't ask you?
Oh, goodness. If I have anything about my business other than working by referral, what catapulted my business?
Yeah, tell us.
What catapulted my business was a specialty. When I was a new realtor, I found there was a lot of realtors out there, and what set me out apart from everybody else, not to mention I was 24 years old, and nobody wanted to use me because I was a young kid. So I decided my shtick was going to be that I specialize in old and historic homes. And so I did. All I did was I learned everything about old and historic homes because I lived in a Victorian house. I learned everything there was about old houses, and I made sign writers that said Omaha's Old Home Specialist. And I put those on my signs, and no other advertising. I didn't do anything print. I didn't do anything on TV, nothing else, just those sign writers. And I quickly became known as the old house specialist, very quickly, by the real estate industry and people in general. And so I made my niche. And now I tell my new agents on my team, if you want to set yourself apart, come up with some niche, whether it be specializing in ranch homes or split entries. I don't care what it is, just something to catch people's attention.
And again, that was 18 years ago, and I can understand that. Then today, if somebody's going to come up with a niche like an old home specialist or something, if they want to follow your model here, there has to be a strong pull to want to flip old homes on Instagram. You know what I mean? Blog about it. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's exactly. I would, if I were really pushing it hard now. Now I'm just the old home guy. I don't even do anything to promote that. But if I was starting it over, I would say that I would say you have to blog, you have to do Instagram, you have to do Facebook, you have to do all that. By the way, I don't do any social media. None.
Do you do any marketing at all other than what you do to your database?
No.
None.
No print, no media. I don't spend any money on advertising.
See, you're one of those rare agents that you have a strong bottom line. Everybody else it's death by subscription. All right, so here's the same last three questions, and I think I'll know the answer to the first one. But as you developed professionally and personally, who was your mentor?
Well, it wasn't just Brian Buffini. Because Brian Buffini came much later in my life. At the very beginning, it was Floyd Wickman. I really, really loved Floyd Wickman and Floyd Wickman's training. And he does Sweat Hogs and all this other stuff. I took his classes. I got to know Floyd really well. I got to know the trainers really well. And I give Floyd Wickman credit for keeping me excited about real estate early on. And then as I matured as a realtor, then I went into Brian Buffini systems.
See, again, you're one of those people, so from the beginning, you were not afraid to invest in yourself, and you knew, and you had enough humility to say, yeah, I need some help here. What do you think, Tim? What's a good percentage of someone's income that they should devote to personal development?
Oh, that's a tough question. I don't think I could give you the answer for that because I think everybody's answer is going to be different. I spend $400 and some a month on coaching, and he could hike it up to $1,000 a month, and I would still pay it. And then I still pay all the other money that I spend to go to all the Buffini training throughout the country. And even though a lot of times the Buffini coaching that we do, training we do, is not new material, it's constant refresher of what we already know. And that is enough to keep on it.
Got it. Okay. And by the way, so you must have gotten some kind of grandfathered rates in there because everybody charges $1,000 a month. $400 is dirt cheap.
Well, no, Buffini's not that expensive. So, but yeah, I'm really happy with Buffini. Oh, by the way, just one thing that I can go back on when you were talking about a niche or early on. One of the other things I did when I was a new realtor that was very bold at the time is I'm gay, and there were several realtors out there that were gay, but they just kind of shush, keep your mouth shut. At the time, I advertised in the gay newspaper. And I was not afraid to say, Tim Reeder, Omaha's gay realtor, and then I had my face, my name, my phone number, and this, again, was in the 90s when it was a little, I don't know if I would say taboo, but it was a little scary. And now, I don't advertise in there anymore, but now that thing is full of realtors, insurance people, handymen, all sorts of people. People are no longer embarrassed or afraid to be out and gay. It was funny how many people would call me and say how they thought I was bold of me to put my name and my face in a magazine and say I'm gay and I'm your realtor.
Well, look, I'm in San Diego, and if you're in LA, San Diego, obviously San Francisco, but in Omaha, that had to be frightening. Is this before the Will and Grace days, or?
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It does. Yeah.
Wow.
That's too funny. Yeah.
You had, that you got no negative anything, like nobody throwing eggs at your car at the time, like you got no.
Oh no, I had a few little things.
You had to. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So listen,
I think you just let that roll off. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're a guy who loves personal development, I'm going to ask you for a book recommendation. Here's the setup. I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book should I go buy today?
Oh, that would be How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Dale Carnegie. Yeah, that's something. That's a book that everybody should read once a year. And I have 3 kids, 12, 10, and 7, and often I'll sit down and I'll read them out of that book. That's a great book. And everybody in the audience, if you've not read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, go get a copy. Get a copy on us. Just use our link, audibletrial.com/superagentslive. My last question to you, Tim, is this: do you have a personal habit that you feel has contributed to your success?
I think I have, and that is if I am working with a client and I don't like them, I let them go. Always. I will not work with somebody if I don't like them. Obviously, we don't like each other, but if I don't like them. And at first, it was very hard to let go of a seller when it was a $250,000 listing and I really knew I could sell that house. But if the person's a jerk, I let them go, because the negativity of bad clients permeates to everything else. So I do not work with people I don't like.
That is such, and that is so hard for people to do. And it's so true. It's those people. I have some of those people in my life today, and it's so mentally and emotionally draining. That is a great tip. Well, listen, Tim, I always suggest to my audience, if they've gotten anything out of this episode, to reach out and say thank you. So where can people find you?
Well, I'm in Omaha, Nebraska. I would say thegoodlifegroup.com is my domain name, and feel free to go there, see my team, me, and it's not the most elaborate website, but it's got the basics, and reach out to me if they have anything.
Awesome. And listen, if you guys are driving, walking your dog, or running in the park, all the stuff will be on our website, superagentslive.com, under Tim Reeder. And Tim, listen, I will be the first guy to thank you. I want to say thank you for taking the time out and coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's stay in touch.
Okay, bye-bye.
Let's go!